Welcome to the True Guy Globe Brief. Updates, subscribe, and press the bell icon for updates. Jerusalem Post shocker. An unexpected headline that would soon capture the attention of an entire nation. IDF soldiers, in the midst of conflict and uncertainty, find solace in an unlikely source. Filipino prayers, quietly whispered in the barracks. The headline sent ripples through communities, sparking conversations in cafes and homes. It was a story so improbable, so unexpected, it felt almost like fiction. But on a dusty outpost near Gaza, far from the city's noise, the scene was undeniably real. In a dim room, Eitan, a young Israeli soldier, closed his eyes, his rifle resting at his side, seeking a moment of peace. His lips moved in Tagalog, the gentle language of the Philippines, words he'd learned from Filipino caregivers in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem during his childhood. Around him, his comrades listened in silence. They didn't understand the words, but they felt the hope and comfort in his voice. This wasn't about conversion or rejecting their own heritage. It was a search for strength, for something to hold onto in the darkness. The Filipino prayers spoke softly of hope, of light in the shadows, and of trust in a better tomorrow, echoing through the barracks. For soldiers burdened by history and the weight of conflict, these prayers felt buoyant, filled with a resilient joy that was contagious. Young men and women, trained for conflict and hardened by experience, now found comfort in a faith from halfway across the world, a faith that offered warmth and connection. They were drawn to the Filipino spirit, centuries of hardship, yet always a smile, always a hand extended in kindness. In this makeshift sanctuary, Tagalog words became vessels for their own fears and hopes, a bridge between distant worlds. This was the quiet start of a movement, hope finding a new language in a contested land, and two cultures discovering unexpected common ground. The bridge began with Eitan, a young Israeli soldier far from home, searching for meaning in unfamiliar lands. Years before he taught a single prayer or shared a word of comfort, his journey had already begun. On a humanitarian mission to typhoon-ravaged Mindanao, he expected to find only despair and devastation. Instead, he witnessed families gathering to share what little food they had, singing hymns together, and tending to the remnants of their homes with quiet determination. Pain was present everywhere, but so was a powerful refusal to let it define their story or their future. Eitan met Lito, a village elder patiently weaving a new roof from palm leaves, even after losing everything he owned. Eitan asked him how he found the strength to rebuild, to start again from nothing. Lito replied, "The storm takes the house, but not the foundation. Our faith is the foundation. God gives us the sunrise every day." These words struck Eitan deeply, echoing in his heart. In Israel, strength often meant vigilance and standing guard. Here, it meant bending with the wind but never breaking. Filipino resilience was not just about survival. It was about choosing hope, again and again, every single day. Eitan realized these people weren't simply enduring hardship, they were actively choosing hope, moment by moment, with every sunrise. He carried this glimmer of hope and strength back with him, a lesson etched into his memory. It would become the seed of something new, a quiet inspiration for his own life and those he would meet. The lesson was clear. True resilience is rooted in faith, in community, and in the courage to face each new day, not just in fighting the storm. Back in Israel, Eitan couldn't forget Mindanao's quiet strength. He saw exhaustion in his fellow soldiers, brave but spiritually drained. Seeking answers, he spoke with Filipino caregivers in Israel, hearing stories of sacrifice, loneliness, and unwavering faith. Their faith was practical, a daily tool for survival and joy. Filipino Catholicism held both sorrow and joy, always focusing on hope and redemption. For soldiers, these practices, prayer, song, shared meals, offered connection and vulnerability. The Filipino faith became a language for the soul's exhaustion, lighting a steady candle in the darkness. In the beginning, Iton's exploration was a deeply private journey. He would listen quietly to Tagalog prayers on his headphones and spend late hours scribbling translations and personal reflections in his notebook, searching for meaning and comfort far from home. But solitude is a rare luxury in the crowded, noisy barracks, where privacy is almost impossible to find. One day, Maya, a fellow soldier, noticed Iton's quiet rituals and gently asked about the prayers he listened to. She saw in his devotion a parallel to her grandmother's unshakable faith, which had always inspired her. Iton decided to share a translated Ama Namin, Our Father, with Maya, opening a door to his world. Maya felt her cynicism begin to crack. Soon, curiosity drew others in, and the group slowly grew. After long shifts, tired and dusty, they would gather in a circle, seeking a moment of peace together. Iton shared stories from Filipino caregivers and led simple prayers, first in English, then in hesitant, heartfelt Tagalog. The unfamiliar language allowed them to connect with pure feeling, beyond just the literal meaning of the words. These gatherings soon became a sanctuary, free from military pressures, a space for hope, reflection, and quiet connection. Filipino workers joined in, bringing homemade food and sharing their own stories, weaving new bonds. Soldiers began to open up, sharing their burdens and fears in return, finding comfort in the group. Breaking bread and sharing prayers, they built a bridge between worlds, creating a true sanctuary in the heart of the barracks. The gatherings grew, attracting more soldiers and Filipino workers. The scent of adobo and Tagalog hymns became part of base life. The military chaplain, Rabbi Benzion, observed a meeting, expecting confusion. Instead, he saw relaxed, open soldiers and a community built on respect. Prayers in Tagalog were followed by Hebrew psalms, connection, not conversion. Iton explained, the Filipino faith was a new emotional language, a supplement, not a replacement. Rabbi Benzion saw the positive impact and advocated for the movement. The military approved cross-cultural resilience workshops, officially recognizing the bridge built by Iton and his friends. The program became a model for psychological support and cultural exchange. Prayer by prayer, story by story, a new kind of resilience took root. Years later, Iton returned to Mindanao, not as a soldier, but as a student. The village had been rebuilt, resilience on display. Leto the Elder welcomed him like family. The story of the Israeli soldier who learned to pray had reached the village. Iton spent 2 weeks as a participant, working, repairing, listening. Faith was woven into daily life prayers before planting, hymns while working, community in every act. When one suffered, all rallied to help. Strength was communal, not just individual. Hope was a shared resource, kept alive by all. Iton saw that true resilience was interdependence, not solitary survival. The lesson hope thrives when it's shared. He returned home with a new understanding of strength. In Mindanao, Iton learned the Filipino art of grace. Grace was practiced daily, in hospitality, laughter, and gentle diplomacy. One mother, worried for her son in Manila, said, "I can only keep the light on in the window, so he knows the way back." Here, weakness was met with compassion, not judgment. True strength was embracing vulnerability and knowing how to heal. Resilience meant mending and leaning on others. The villagers' philosophy: faith, community, and belief in a new day. It was a powerful antidote to cynicism and despair. Iton knew this was the message to bring home. Iton's story isn't about religion, it's about the search for hope. The cross-cultural resilience workshops continue, bridging cultures and fostering empathy. Soldiers report less stress, more purpose, and a new toolkit for resilience. The lesson empathy is a strategic asset, and listening is transformative. The movement grew from sharing stories, not preaching. Sometimes, the most powerful act is to bear witness to another's struggle. This story invites us to find hope in unexpected places and honor the sources of strength around us. Where have you found hope? Who has been your Nanay Elena? Share your story and keep the conversation alive.